Okay, so here is an overview of the main project. As you guys may know by now, you're going to choose a difficulty level, and you're going to choose your key storytelling poses that you'll be using for your project. Okay, so beginner, intermediate, and advanced. As it's written in the beginner scenario, you're going to be choosing 2 key storytelling poses. And in order to get from one pose to the next, you're going to be required to take 1 step. Okay. Intermediate, you're choosing 3 key storytelling poses, and in order to go from the first to the second, you need to take a step, and then you also need to take a step to go from the second to the third, and likewise with advanced being 4 key story poses, needing 3 steps. Okay. Your key storytelling poses. So choose from the list that's been provided, and try and create a scenario that says, might be go for contrast, go from happy to angry, go from bored to surprised, go from timid to surprised, go from sad to angry, I don't know, or to brave, and use any kind of combinations you want. Okay. So those are some examples. And as you can see, they're pretty broad as far as the animation is concerned. They're staged well, so all of this is going to be part of what you're shooting for this month. So let's jump on to requirements. I'm going to move on to some of the requirements for your poses. So all the key storytelling poses you choose to create, they must be standing poses, okay? So both feet on the ground, 1 foot could be slightly on its toe, but you need all feet on the ground, okay? Weight must favor one leg more than the other in each key pose. So every key pose you get into with your character, you need to shift your weight one way or the other, on the left or the right foot, okay? Pose must use contrapposto and have a strong line of action and strong silhouette, okay? Well, if you're shifting your weight, you're going to wind up with some kind of contrapposto, so those two are kind of go hand in hand. Characters required to take 1 step whenever they move into the next pose, okay? The character must step with the leg they are standing on, coming out of the first pose only, okay? You can do it every time. You can always move the foot you're standing on, but there's the one requirement is the first pose you create, and whatever leg you're standing on, that's the leg you move first, you take a step with. There's no requirements which leg is moved on the other steps. You can choose that for your own, okay? Steps can be side steps, forward steps, back steps. The character can also slide the foot over into position, so whatever you want to do as far as how that foot moves is fine by me, okay? Each time the character moves into another pose, they must first anticipate, then take 1 step, and then settle into the next pose and hold, okay? So let's even take a look at that advanced example again, okay? I kind of kept these up in front of it just for the hay. Is it not going to let me? There we go. Looking for my player here. So as you can see, the first pose, my character's weight is on his back right leg, okay? He's going to anticipate. He anticipates up, then anticipates down and over, and then he picks up that leg he was just standing on and he places it. It's just a quick little side step, okay? Boom. And now he settles down into the next pose, and notice he then shifts his weight again and ends up on, this time, his left leg. Then he's going to anticipate again, and he slides that left leg he was standing over next to him, and then he gets into the next pose. Each time he's slowing in and he's holding, so you're going to pause your character every time you stop your character or get into a new pose. You need to slow it in and pause for a minute, then anticipate again. Again, he's on his right leg again this time. Then he's going to anticipate, and he's going to take a step with that right leg. So in this scenario, I move the foot, and even here he's going to settle in and slow in and hold before we cut, okay? In each scenario, in this case, I moved the foot I was standing on. Not required. If you do an advanced project, the only thing you're required to do is the first pose, move the leg that you're standing on. The rest, you can move any foot you decide to. But each time, you have to take 1 step, in any kind of step you want, and only one step. Don't go and move 2 feet at a time. That's 2 steps. We're doing one at a time. Vary them if you're doing advanced or doing intermediate, so you don't do the same step over and over. It could be any of those steps. Okay, so let's move on. So just a little advice where to start. So here is this is from your write-up in milestone 2. You can find more descriptions. This is the description for the advanced what you call it, write-up. So it says to choose your 4 storytelling poses from that list. These are going to be your 4 main key poses. Okay, and you guys get the basic idea here. I'm not going to read this again, but this is what I suggest you do. Look at the examples, and I wrote this up to say, hey, maybe you go from bored to frustrated to disgusted to angry. Maybe it's a progression, you know. So the character starts off standing in a bored pose. Describe that pose so you can help yourself think about it. Hands on hip, hand on his hip, slumped posture, head tilted as if staring into space. Gives you a place to start, right? Then takes a quick sidestep over and slumps into a disgusted pose with hands jetting out as if complaining, and holds. Then steps back into a disgusted pose with head pulled back. Oh, I said disgusted twice. Wasn't I supposed to go from, frustrated? Okay. I should probably change that later. Anyhow, you get the idea. Back into a disgusted pose with head pulled back and hands out front, shielding themselves, and holds. Character then takes a large aggressive step forward into an angry pose. Head up, arms up and out, hands clenched into fists with the overall thrust of the pose, up and forward. It really helps if you kind of give yourself a script to work from and some ideas on what those poses are going to look like. So when you get in those poses and start acting them out, and then you start building those poses, you're going to have some sort of an understanding of what you're shooting for. So that is my advice to you. Getting started, choose your category, whether you're going for beginner, intermediate, or advanced. Choose your poses you think you're going to go for, and then write a description to try and direct yourself in order to be able to create reference and analyze it and work from there. Okay. Hope that helps. I will see you guys later.